Welcome, folks, to When Cavemen Talk. We're here with episode 3. Number 5.
Just kidding.
Maybe 4.
Not quite. I think it's 3.
We are really excited to get together, provide you guys with some A1 sauce.
And as always, you're probably wondering who we're brought to you by. Let's see. What creative way can I come up to describe it this time?
Here, I'll turn it your way.
This is brought to you by a wine that comes from somewhere in the southern hemisphere, and the brand of it sounds like a Mexican restaurant.
It rhymes with North America.
Cheers.
This is some grade A shit, you guys. 80 buckaroonies.
It is also a Malbec. We like Malbecs. I got him on that. He didn't realize how amazing those kind of wines were. But
damn near changed my life.
the difference between a 2020, they're going to say we're noobs, which I guess we are.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no shit, a 2020 wine doesn't taste as good as a 2015 one. Isn't it weird, though? Just like age. It's sitting in a wooden cask.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a little bit since I bought that. Is how people will like hold on to liquor. It might be like a 1900-year-old like liquor, right? And we drink it like a century later, and then people are like, it's the same. Or like they'll buy a more premium, like $100 shot a glass, and they're like, yeah, I don't know what the hype is.
Are you talking about people who, like, for instance, like you could probably do it with wine, arguably, because it's the same concept?
Yeah.
They'll hold on to a bottle of whiskey or wine, and they say it's getting better
Yeah, it
because it's aging, allegedly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It doesn't age in glass. It ages and matures in a wooden cask.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting to think about. Like, whiskey is, I don't know, as always. Never certain about everything. Yeah, it's the caveman speaking. But I'm pretty sure whiskey on its own is the color of vodka. It's clear.
Yeah.
But it's getting its brown color from, no joke, wood.
Yeah, it's the
Like,
barrel.
Yeah, from the barrel. Yeah, isn't that weird? It's like you're not looking at something that came from, what does it come from? Is it corn? What's it come from?
I think it is corn.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's different types that it does come from because it's basically chemistry. You know, that's even with beer. It's just that fermenting process. I mean, I could be wrong. I think it's beer.
Some
Is
kind of grain stuff. So it doesn't get its color from that.
No.
You're looking at wood juice.
Well, wait.
It's like
wine
wooden.
would come from grapes, wouldn't it?
Huh?
Wine comes from grapes?
Yeah.
Yeah. It could come from corn, but I think primarily grapes, right? Because they would have kids and
wine? No. Wine always comes from grapes, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean just alcohol? Sorry. Yeah.
It's a fine corn wine.
I'm getting confused. Yeah. So you're
it
talking
comes
about
from the
like
plains
actual
of
alcohol?
Iowa.
Yeah, it has to come from corn or some sort of seed.
Yeah.
From what I've seen on that old show, This Is How It's Made, or the History Channel, Modern Marvels. I used to watch Modern Marvels. Mm-hmm. And they had a thing like that where they show like the entire distillery process. It's been over 15 years at least.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how they make this stuff. Like cheese in the country of Netherlands. Shout out to the Dutch folks. Cheese is like pretty interesting process over there, how they do it. Like they do it, they probably scoff at our cheese. Like think of Velveeta cheese.
Yeah,
like
we're like, oh, this is the best shit ever.
Yeah, you take that over there, you're probably going to end up either 1, jumped, or 2, in prison with like 25 to life.
Yeah, just like, hey, man, you want some of this Velveeta? $25 for some Velveeta.
It was pretty cool, though, how the process is for one. I got to do a wine and a cheese and wine little tasting thing.
Yeah.
And the factory that this particular cheese came from that we're eating, they do it like the same way they've been doing it since however long.
Yeah.
And their process is kind of comparable to alcohol. You know, that's the same concept. You put this you could say it's a liquid. You put this liquid up in this casing, and you let it sit. And the casing in the sense of cheese is this porous paper wax. It's not wax. He corrected me on that. I was like, it's not wax. And if it was wax, the cheese wouldn't mature. I think I might have been telling you about this. It has to be porous because it makes sense if you use wax or something that seals it up, like you put it in a Ziploc bag, the bacteria in it dies. Yeah. Because it needs like air and stuff to get to it.
Yeah, I mean, bacteria is a living organism. Yeah.
And the bacteria is the thing that makes the cheese what it is. Mm-hmm. And then all the cheeses that we had came from like this. It was like the same base cheese. And the only difference was it was like the first one was 3 months, and then it went all the way up to like 3 years old.
Jeez, they just let it sit there.
Yeah, and it's like completely. You can look at it and just see like, oh, this is the older cheese, and like it has the taste characteristic of what you would think comes out of like an older cheese. It tastes just like more old and more like refined, and the young 3-month one is like it's easier to eat. Like anybody would like it. It's like, oh, that tastes good. It's like a nice, easy to eat, smooth 3-month cheese.
Yeah, some good dairy.
Yeah. And the process though is pretty interesting because it just has to do with sitting as like with alcohol. And they use a warehouse. They don't use like, they do it all natural. They just like open up the barn doors to this warehouse. It looks like a barn. Yeah. It's a warehouse. Mm-hmm. And I just open up the doors, and this cheese has a unique taste profile to it that is only obtainable if it comes from it. This cheese only tastes like this cheese. No other cheese tastes like it. Yeah. For the simple fact that it's located in a place where it has this, I don't know, kind of like air around it. Okay. Because it absorbs like it's. If you put something that you're going to eat in this environment, it's going to eventually kind of like get taste characteristics from its environment. Yeah. Like a wine has, if you grow the same kind of grape in France versus Argentina, because of the soil, mm-hmm. it's going to taste different because it's become like a product of how it was, where it got its nutrients from, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, even the climate, the mm-hmm. normal, like if it's raining more, is it sunny more, stuff like that. Yeah. Drier, humid.
And this cheese only tastes like this cheese. It's like no other cheese because it's the only cheese that was made in this warehouse. It had this air circulating all around it. Yeah, and it's pretty interesting. They have it going on with the cheese. Like they're not bullshitting when they're like the cheese people.
Yeah, the gurus. Yeah. Do they put in terms of like air? Is it like a forced air, or do they just have like this? They control it obviously, but like how do they control it? Like is it chilled at a certain degree? Yeah. Or maybe they open like the doors, for instance, for a certain period of time. Like how does that? Did they explain that at all or no?
So they showed us a video, and from what I gathered from the video, it's like as natural as they're doing it the same way they were before the advent of modern technology.
Okay, so before the turn of the 19th.
There's no HVAC in this thing. There's none of that. They open up those big ass doors and they let all the air come through. Yeah. All year round, I'm guessing, because it's 3-year-old cheese, so it's been there for that many seasons. I don't know how they do it though. I don't know, like it's snowing like crazy now. Like another one's got like all the snow. I've been seeing these videos of them ice skating around in the canals and stuff because they have a bunch of canals mm-hmm. over there, and I don't know how they do it then. It's like, do you open the doors then and you let this stuff like freeze and stuff? I don't know how it works. Maybe they heat it up a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, if they're trying to go for that like natural taste, I think like, I mean, if you think about natural even then, right? Mm-hmm. Like let's say 1700s, and I mean, I'm sure they started it before then, is you'll have like this cycle in time, right? So like, I don't know how the weather is there. I'm just going to assume based off of my experience here in the U.S.
Are you assuming things?
Yeah.
Wow. Despicable.
I'm an ass. I'm ooming things. Anyways, I don't know where I was going with that. Is like you have like, your summer, your fall, and your spring. So like, or and your winter too. So like these cheeses have had that taste because like even over time, even over like 1 year, we'll say, they've had that like distinct taste. So like I don't know, I'm just thinking like a microorganism mm-hmm. is that it's gonna bloom, right? It's gonna get like nasty or whatever, and then during the winter months, or I should say during the spring, during the summer, and kind of towards fall, not so much, more like summer specific and spring. It's going to get like real nice and juicy. Things are going to start thriving. They're going to reproduce, right? And then during like the start of fall or that nice transition era, and then into winter, early back into spring, is like they're kind of going together, right? So if you think about molecules, like or is it atoms? I think molecules are atoms. It don't really matter. So like whenever it's cold, they kind of group in together.
Yeah.
So I think that's like the good thing is like this. I don't know how it looks either. That's another thing I should ask you is like when a 3-year-old cheese, does it look different in opinion or in your opinion versus like the 3-month? Does that? I'm gonna ask you that first, and then I'll go.
Oh man, you got me stumped now.
Well, I'm just saying, like, is it presented the
kidding.
same way to you, or is it like, so if you were looking and you saw one cheese and another cheese, could you say like that's 3 months and that's 3 years, or no?
Yeah. So I'll talk about that. But what you're saying about it, almost like the mood of the season is like the mood or the taste of the this was a nice warm year, so this is like a more
flavorful maybe, right?
Yeah. That's kind of interesting because if they're doing it like the natural way and they don't, it's like, hey, whatever Mother Nature determines the temperature today, that's what it's going to be. Like we don't have control over that. And this year being, from what I can see, pretty cold.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's always like this. It wasn't the one winter I was there. It wasn't this cold from what I'm seeing now. I don't know if this cheese is going to be like marketed as like it has this taste profile to it, vice our other cheese, because this year was colder and it definitely has an influence because it's bacteria. It's like, how's the bacteria doing today? They go up and listen to it. No, I'm just kidding. They don't do that. They do go around with like this little mallet. So you know the cheese wheels? Yeah, that's what they look like. Giant cheese wheels stacked on rows and rows, and they go around with like this little mallet thing. They tap on it. Yeah. And like these are like master cheesemen, I guess you would call them, and they can tell just based on like the sound, the reverberation of the mallet, the sound itself. Yeah. It's like you can tap on something and you can tell it sounds hollow or something. I'm not saying the cheese sounds hollow, but you would be able to tell like, oh, this cheese has gone bad. Yeah. And that's what they would do. They could determine if it went bad and stuff like that using that very simple method. But as far as the look of it, it looks what you would like think of. It's like, oh, that's a older looking cheese. So compare what a 3-month and a 3-year cheese looks like. The 3-month is like some nice white creamy looking cheese. You look at it and you can tell like that's gonna be easy to eat. Put it on like a cracker or something. It goes down super good, man. We're not endorsing crackers because fuck you. We don't get no goddamn especially advertising around here. Club crackers or Ritz. So the 3-month, the 3-month one, like I was saying, it looks like what it looks like. It's like white, creamy. Something you just buy at the store right now. Yeah. Goes down super easy. And then the 1 year and the 2 year and the 3 year is how I think how it goes. It's so progressively. But the 3 year is first when you cut it, it's like it's brittle. It's still soft. Yeah. But if you flex it a little, it snaps. And it also develops these little crystals in it, these little salt vitamin things in it. Okay, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. It becomes more, if I remember correctly, it becomes more nutritious. The older it gets, it has more like vitamins. It has a lot of vitamin A, I think it was, in it. Did they talk about brine at all? I don't think so. Okay, keep going. I'll talk about that in a minute. So I guess these crystals in it, and you'll be eating it, and it has like some crunch to it. Is it like it's really like it's like a burst of flavor of salt, right? It's flavor. It is salty. It tastes more saltier. Yeah. And they were telling us like if they ever eat like this cheese, they don't ever like add too much seasoning to it because like, it's gonna naturally do it. Yeah, or especially salt. You don't need to salt your food with this. Yeah. But yeah, it's a distinct change of look to it, and they're all good. It's all good cheese. So they. Like, apparently there's some kind of copyright, that I can't remember which one it was. It's one or the other. But Americans are not allowed to make like Wisconsin is like the cheese.
Yeah, I
place
mean
in-
the Green Bay, right? I think they always wear the cheese hats
oh really? Oh
for football. Yeah,
yeah, okay. I watch a lot of football, man. I love
you
football.
look like a guy
Yeah.
that would watch it.
Dude, I love football. It's one or the other. We're not Americans are not, or any country for that matter, is not allowed to produce a cheese and call it Dutch cheese or Holland cheese. I can't remember which one it is.
Yeah.
They can't say. I think they can say Dutch cheese. I think they're allowed to say that, but they
Yeah.
can't say Holland cheese. Or I might have it backwards. It's one or the other. But they have like a copyright on their naming convention of the cheese. They take it that serious.
That's pretty interesting because, like, if you think about it, like, what's proprietary about it? Like, that's like saying, like, American cheese, right? That's the thing, right? American cheese, like,
Yeah.
oh, you can't say American cheese
Yeah.
on your product. Like,
can't name it that.
it's just literally a fucking name. Like, I don't know. I guess it kind of makes sense, but
No, they take it hella serious. That's what it is. They take their cheese and
they shoot you. How dare you? You said the
Yeah.
Dutch.
yeah, but cheese and beer, they got it. They got it going on. The Belgians will say, no, our beer is better. They have that sweet taste, and I'm not a fan of the typical Belgian taste beer. If you want to know what it tastes like, just get a Blue Moon. It's so funny because like I used to like Blue Moon.
I love Blue Moon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm over it now, and I don't know why. There was like this weird hype in my life about Blue Moon because I had the same thing. Like, man, Blue Moon is so good. And then like when I had it, like every time I had it, I never had an orange. And then when I did have an orange, I was like, yeah, it's good. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not like, whoa, you need to get this. Everybody needs to get like, why? Like, what are you doing with your life? No, I'm not like that. I'm just like, oh, like it's good, but like there's better stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it's beer, some of it's not beer.
Yeah, that Belgian taste though, I don't really care for it because a
Yeah.
lot of their beers, the thing they focus on is high percentage alcohol content in a sweet tasting beer. That's like the foundation of what the Belgians will tell you is a good beer.
Mm-hmm.
Something tells me they don't really go for the Pilsner lager types. They go more for like the doubles and triples and like the Trappist beers. All that means is higher percentage alcohol. It has to do
Yeah.
with the distillery, like double something. And yeah, all those beers are like it. You're not sitting around like with a 24 rack of Bud Light and you can drink a bunch of them. You're gonna have like 3 of those things and you're gonna be like
On your ass.
You're gonna be there. So their beers have that taste to it. And when I had a Blue Moon after a long time,
Yeah.
after not having one for a long time, I immediately could taste that iconic sweet taste to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh man, I don't know about this because I'm not a fan of that taste. I just don't like it. I like it easy to drink beer. Like
Yeah.
my favorite Belgian beer, which the Belgians would probably shit on me over, is Jupiler, or as they probably call it, Jupiler with a Y. As this, I always thought it was a Coke. Every time you see it, it looks like a Coke because it's like the same color red can. It has this bull on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a Coke. But yeah, that's an easy to drink lager. It doesn't have that. It's just a plain lager taste. That easy to drink. You just came out the yard from mowing it, and it's a warm day, and you want to drink a beer. That's
What's
what that tastes.
the culture like in terms of how they do dinner, or I should say how they eat? And the reason I bring that up because when I was in Africa, I think I told you about that German restaurant. So the way they, I mean, based off my experience, right?
The whole population, you mean?
Yeah, entire Germany. I'm going to represent you here as an American, even though I've never been there. But this isolated experience,
This
I'm
one
speaking for you.
experience definitely encompasses everybody.
Yeah,
That's not a generalization.
no, not at all. I'm being very specific. But what I'm saying is, like, when I was in Africa, we would drink beer there, specifically German beer. It was not African beer, because that's where it was in Africa. The entire country. I just traveled and walked with a cane.
The entire continent?
Yeah. Here, I'll put it over there. You would eat and then drink the beer as if it was like bread. So like when you go to Texas Roadhouse or you go to is it Longhorn? Yeah, Longhorn is
Longhorn.
that. Fuck. Oh my, or the
It's not that
Cheesecake
good,
Factory,
man.
dude. They have some good fucking bread. I don't know. Anyways, the German culture, from my experience, is that like bread and beer kind of fill you up the same way. So like you're drinking a beer because it's gonna fill you up and it's gonna carry you over to dinner or even your dessert. But I don't think dessert was a big thing, from what I noticed. Like they never came up and was like, "Oh, you want dessert?" And I was like, "No, I'm fucking full." And they kind of understood because like you're drinking beer the entire time. And it's not like American beer in terms of like, yeah, you're gonna get full, right? But like you have to drink probably 4 or 5. Like if you just drink one normal German beer, like Paulaner is the brand that we would drink, you actually feel like you ate a loaf of bread. You're like, wow, I feel like I'm full. And then when dinner comes, it's like your dessert because like it's finishing you off, right? So it's like when you eat in front of those hibachi places and they start cooking in front of you. And then by the time your actual meal gets in, you're like, oh, God, I'm so full already. Like, I don't know if I'm going to eat all this. I'm probably going to take it to go. And I asked this because, like, if you're talking about it being sweet versus, like, the German side where it's more filling, like, you're going to do it. You're gonna be there for a long time, too. That was another thing. Is like, you're not just drinking to eat it with your dinner. You're drinking it because you're going to sit around for hours. And Sharon brought this up when he went to where the fuck do you remember where he went? Was it Ireland, right? Not like when he was there for a short time, but like when he went on vacation.
No, he went to Oktoberfest.
Yeah. So when he went to Oktoberfest, he even talked about it too, which was like helping my like opinion on it. It's like it's like literally a culture of beer, and I'm asking is like in Holland, not Holland.
No, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. In Holland, when it's sweeter like that, do they view it as like a dessert or like it's like you're eating peanuts, right? So like you're gonna eat or you're gonna drink this beer because like it's a sweet little treat, and then you're gonna have it with your appetizer, and then you're talking, and then when your main meal comes, you're gonna have it, and then when you eat dessert, you're gonna have it, and like by that point you're fucked up and you're ready to leave. Is that kind of like, what's the mentality when you sit there and have a drink? If you can explain that.
What I saw,
Yeah.
as far as the order is, like the ordering of like or the how they drink their beer.
Yeah, like the process.
Yeah, it seemed somewhat pretty comparable to how most people do it.
Yeah.
Like over here, you go out and you get some drinks, and then like you get some food, and you have some drinks with your food. From what I experienced. In other words, this is how all of the Netherlands does it.
You're speaking for them on their behalf.
Yeah, my official statement on their behalf. We're kidding. It's pretty comparable from what I saw to us. They're what they like to drink though. It seems like they were more fans of not the darker beers, like not the higher percent, because usually the darker the beer, whether it's
Like Guinness?
probably everybody. Yeah, I was gonna say everybody's gonna think of Guinness. Yeah, that's a good like a stout or like doubles and triples.
Yeah.
Like anytime I see a beer and it's dark, I'm like, I'm probably not really gonna like that too much. I'll drink it, but yeah, I want a nice lighter looking beer.
Yeah, you talked about Pilsner being the big thing, right?
Yeah, pilsners and the word lager is not used over there,
No.
but pilsner and a lager are pretty similar tasting
So in terms of like interchangeability, they would be interchangeable. Lager and a Pilsner.
over here.
Over here, like in America, like when we talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because over there I never saw that word on their beers. Like the Czech beer, one of the more popular. You've had it, Pilsner or Quell. It's like in the actual. Wait, maybe you haven't.
No, you're just gonna assume that I did.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Sorry for making assumptions
Fuck me.
on your alcoholic beverage taste.
No, but when I was in Peru, that was like I never heard that term. I don't know where
Pilsner
this
or
comes
lager?
from. It's Pilsner.
Yeah.
When I got to Peru, I was like, "What the fuck is a Pilsner?"
Now, it might be because a pilsner and lager is different. They taste kind of similar, but the brewing process is different.
Okay.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
It's probably because a lager brewing process might be American. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's what
That's a good question, or even answer to figure out. You know.
That's what my assumption is. Ooh, assuming things again.
Yeah.
But
I have a friend that she what the fuck? She makes sake. You know that Japanese shit?
Mm-hmm.
She makes it out where I'm at, and well, not where I'm at, like back home, right?
Back in the woods.
Back in the ding 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 ding.
Yeah, the banjo.
Um,
But they don't use that word over there.
I can ask her though. I mean offline.
I'll have to look it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
The process of brewing a pilsner.
She might not even
versus
know because she's technically like a chemist. That's what she got her degree in.
fucking chemist.
Yeah, because like she has to learn that, right? Because like that's what beer. A lot of people don't like think about is like it's pretty technical. Like you can fuck it up pretty easy. Like it's also one of those things like you could fuck it up easy, but then you can master it pretty easy. You know?
Is she one of those people that is like a chemist and then use that knowledge to make meth like Walter White did?
No, but she
Breaking
smokes
Bad.
some good old Mary Jane. So I mean, I don't think she's done meth. She's not that kind of person.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as how they drink and the way they view it, I think it's kind of similar to the way we do.
Yeah.
The Germans they're a little, and the Belgians especially, the people will probably disagree, but from what I saw, I didn't really see anything too different the way they do things.
That is interesting.
Yeah, the Georgians though, I think I was telling you about this. I think if it's like Eastern Bloc, if it's like the eastern part of Europe,
Yeah.
I think it comes back to maybe communism and how tough things were back in the 40s and earlier.
Yeah.
The way they do food and stuff, that is like, I could definitely pinpoint that one and be like, that is completely different, and that is a thing of its own.
What do you mean by that? I don't
So-
like. I'm not following.
Yeah, so the Georgians, from my one experience, which is obviously how the whole country does it, right?
Yeah, that's exactly day-to-day operations.
It was one of those things where it was like, sit down, ton of food, you eat the food, you're like, shiza, I'm full. And then they're like, oh, you must more food then. And then go to the kitchen, they bring it out, and you're like, oh no. And they're like doing that number.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know how they're not all obese. The amount of food, and the food that we had was really, I'll just say carb based. It was really bready.
Yeah.
Had a lot of bread to it, so like super filling. You eat
Yeah.
a little bit of that. It's just like, but
It's
it
like
makes
eating rice.
yeah, it makes sense. Like that is a staple of either current third world countries or countries that were at one point impoverished and going through some hard times.
Yeah.
Like Dhaka.
I was gonna talk about Dhaka.
No
in a minute.
coincidence how the diet is there. Like bread is more of a process. I guess you got to make it. But rice, grow it, you can grow a bunch of it. A little bit goes a long ways, and it makes you feel full.
Yeah.
And it's packed full of carbs, and it makes you chubby. The Georgian diet or Georgian span of food that we had was similar, but in this case it was bread. So
Yeah.
they might have figured out a way to make bread super good, and bread cheap, fills you up, keeps the kids from being all loud and hungry, and not going to bed.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think about that one. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Look at me, I'm just coming up with all kinds of stuff, man.
Genius.
I don't even know why we're doing this show. We're not gonna call us cavemen anymore. We're gonna call us when the scientists talk.
That's funny that you bring that up because like that's one of the things I read an article. I don't remember where it was from, and it was either for school or my own research. Honestly, just like seeing it, right? Not research. I fucking saw it on my phone, and I researched it. I read into it.
That's how you do research.
Yeah, you just read anything and it sticks. Shit sticks. Is a woman in Africa. I'm not being racist, by the way. I'm literally quoting what I remember. I seen this firsthand experience. I don't explain it. So you know how we walk around with like little kids and they're in strollers or we're literally carrying them kind of thing, but they're like in those things you attach, like braces, basically. You put them in there, strap it on your waist, and then like they're not permanently, they're kind of like asphyxiated on you, and they're laying.
Asphyxiated. That's not the right word.
No?
That's when you choke on your own vomit. They're not. The babies aren't
They're
asphyxiating.
choking.
Yeah, the babies are not asphyxiating, folks. They're
Please, God, no. I hope not. That's not the word I meant to use. I meant to say
Attached.
like, yeah, they're attached, right? So like, you could be hands free, right? But your kid's either on your chest or on your
it's
back.
like in a little
Kangaroo pouch.
yeah.
That's a pretty good way to put it. So like in Africa, they literally take like a sheet, something like this, you know, very like thin.
And they wrap them up in it.
Yeah, they literally wrap them up. Sometimes they'll put them on like their chest, so the baby's kind of like crossbody, or if it's on the back, they're literally kind of like all fours are like all four limbs are extended out. They're not really like in, you know, because you want them to be comfortable. And from what I remember pretty accurately is not the most accurate. Is that when like a baby cries over there, it's like a big deal. It's like calling 911 kind of thing, like that kind of big deal. Because like when we think like in America, like a baby's crying, like, right, we want to get them to, like, maybe they're hungry, maybe they ate and they need to be burped, or they need to go to the restroom, or they just got done pooping, whatever. So it's like at this point, right, babies can't communicate, like younger. Obviously, like my daughter, she can do sign language shit. But for a baby that's not that, like 3 months, we'll say, even 5 months. And like when we do it, we're like, okay, this is normal. Baby's crying. It means something. Well, for them, it's like, I'm not doing good as a mother. Like, holy shit. Like, what the fuck's going on? Right. So like the reason I say that is because like, I'm pretty sure it's tied to breastfeeding is a thing. Is so like, they just think like the baby's hungry naturally. Right. So like the baby's crying because they're hungry, not because they need attention, not because necessarily they went to the restroom, but like they just need my boob, right, to feed. So they think like, I could be wrong on this, but the article is like, they'll pretty much think like, here, let me give them my boob and I'm just going to feed them and like, they'll be fine. They're going to stop crying. That's why they cry, right? Not for this, that, and the other. So you like think like first world, like they're kind of spoiled in that sense, right? Like we're going to instantly, like as soon as they start crying, like we're going to run through this 9 line, right? This huge list of like what's wrong with them. And then like in this country, like Africa, they're like, oh, they're just hungry, right? Like we're going to feed the baby.
Silly over here. Country of Africa.
Yeah. The continent of Africa.
Look at you.
Idiot.
So you're saying, I guess it kind of makes sense because.
Sorry, I know I was rambling on for a minute, but what I'm trying to get at is that like in like the third world countries that like, not third world countries, in Africa, the continent, they do this because like when you're feeding that baby, it's like it's not the same that we do it here, you know?
Yeah, it's I think it comes down to hunger being more of a big deal to them.
Yeah, so like
The
if a
idea
baby's
of hunger.
crying before
Yeah.
dinner or even bedtime, like, oh shit, like maybe I didn't feed them, you know?
Yeah, because over there it's like that's a big deal, like eating.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe they have the idea of hunger more prevalent in their mind because they might themselves be going through hardship that is making them be hungry. So they would never want to dream of the idea that their little baby is hungry and to
Yeah.
the point of crying.
That's
It's
a
like,
good perspective.
how
That's
did I
like the
not
one
catch
thing-
this sooner, I guess? I don't know.
Yeah, that's like the one thing that I didn't really experience is like,
Keep talking.
I'm not going to be like crazy about it, but like the actual like safari, the jungle of Africa. And I say that because like I was more like in a city posture, you know? I wasn't in this remote space. Like I was literally like not the hub of the country that I was in, but there was a lot more people. It's not like fucking Tarzan, right? We're not like literally in the jungle and I'm not going to see anybody but these 200 people. I'm going to see thousands of people daily. And what I'm trying to get at is I forgot. I fucking forgot.
You forgot?
Do you remember what I was talking about? I literally forgot.
Well, you're talking about the jungle.
Yeah, but
And it's
before
not
that,
Tarzan.
before that.
The babies and the breastfeeding. Hunger.
Oh, okay, no, I remember now. So like you're talking about problems, right? So like you're assuming, right? Because this is your limited experience in wherever you went.
Full
in Africa,
disclosure, folks.
is like because like I was in the city and I was not in the jungle. I don't really understand the struggle that they went through, right? So like I saw in Africa, like when you think is it UNICEF commercials, right? That's what it is.
Yeah, UNICEF.
Yeah. like when you see like a UNICEF commercial, like, hey, like feed this baby, you get like $1 a day, and you can feed this kid. Like that's like legit. Like there's actual people on the street begging for money all the time, or it's just kind of in DACA too. Like you see some like not it's not really fucked up shit, but like you'd see a kid that's like blind, like literally like maybe it was just because I hate to say it, but like because I'm white and they're black, and they would see me as like someone different, not necessarily because I'm white, but like someone that's obviously not black, and maybe they were playing a part because it happens even in other parts of the world. It's not anything new. Even in America, they do it. And this is important to think of because if you, I'm trying to think of how to say this is like the best way. Sorry, folks. I'm a little bit of an old timer here. Is the importance of it is that you really just don't know. So like, yeah, you see what you see, but like beyond that, like, is that really like an accurate representation? So like, you'll see kids too, like they're, it's like literally 100 degrees out, like probably over 100 degrees. And like, they're sitting there like, hey, can I get some water? And you're like, fuck, is this kid really thirsty? And can he get water? Or is he just trying to fucking hassle me? Like one of those like legit things. And when I was in
hassle
DACA,
you for, because typically it's not even their own free will. They got the guy in the shadow or in the corner over there.
Yeah.
Hey, you're gonna work for me now. You're gonna go get water because they're not gonna give it to me because I'm not a little kid.
Exactly.
Yeah, just like in DACA. Oh, you need food or money? Here, take it. What do? They go run to someone.
Yeah.
Because some asshole is pinning them up. So yeah, that's why we never gave money to them, because we know it doesn't go to them directly. It doesn't go to their cause.
Yeah.
It might go to some ring
Mm-hmm.
of who knows what, some kind
Could
of
be a criminal organization for all we know.
So yeah, that's why you don't. As tempting as it is, that's why UNICEF is important, because it's like an official thing. That's you're more confident, or you should be fully confident. I don't know too much about them. I know they're should be legit for as big as they are. I hope they are. Yeah, give money to them. Don't give it to the people on the street, because it's not that you don't want to help them out. Mm-hmm. It's because you're giving money to some asshole and they're pinning that person up, and you're by funding them, the problem probably is just getting worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was like trying to get to, that I fucking did this huge ring around the rosy on, is that like he's talking about his experience and I'm talking about my experience. So like, yes, I experienced, actual kids with actual defects, like literally kids missing limbs, looking blind. Like there was that dude in DACA, I don't know if you remember him, but he had like no eyes. Like it was literally like someone like with just eyeless. He kind of like sat in that alleyway.
I don't remember him.
Okay.
I don't think I did.
He always had a kid next to him. But what I'm saying is, like, even though you're talking about kids that's at night, right, and like they think it like as they're feeding their kid because like, man, like I don't want my kid to go to sleep because like I don't have food. Like, I don't know how that is. Like, I know for some people in Africa, for sure, like there's no doubt about it that they were probably not going to have any food, right? Because there's like those, I don't know how else to put it, but like street children, right? Like they're not homeless. They are obviously homeless, but like you don't call a kid a homeless kid, like displaced. I don't know what the term is. And you think of these companies,
unsheltered.
Yeah, sheltered would be a good one, because I'm sure youth usually we kind of pay more attention to. It doesn't matter really where around the world. We just like, oh, you're a kid, like here, let me come coddle you, which is good. Like I'm not getting like, don't get it twisted. Like I think we should pay attention to everybody, but kids more importantly, because they're at that moldable stage. You can kind of like make something of them to help them make something more of their life versus like someone that's 80. They've already experienced life. But you brought up UNICEF. And I think it's important because we saw that, I don't want to say just with Katrina. It happens all the time, unfortunately. But you have these organizations that put up a front that like, oh, we care. Oh, look at this poor kid over here. Like, oh, man, you should pay $1 a day. Mm-hmm. And then you find out that they're, basically siphoning it for their own gain. So although UNICEF is very important, there are parts of Africa, there are parts of the world that do struggle more than we can even fathom, but unfortunately there's people out there that also take advantage of that for the negative, even in corporations like UNICEF. I'm not saying everybody in UNICEF, but there's definitely going to be one or two in there that are not looking out for the interest of, let's say in this instance, Africans.
Yeah, when you're that kind of company, especially now, it's probably become more prominent in people's minds. Like, I wonder how legit this place. Like, is this $500 I'm about to donate of my own money going to directly go to them, or is 250 of it going to go to administrative fees?
Yeah.
Or whatever. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking about something the other day. But yeah, for organization wise, it comes down to just being completely transparent. It's like, in the best way you can. I was gonna say like show the transactions, but
Yeah.
that's not too realistic because you can't follow where every penny of your money goes, especially when it's going to a continent who's needs X, Y, and Z, a whole spiel of things. It's like I don't know how you can directly. Oh, excuse me.
I think like what you're talking about with like it's not necessarily financials, which would be a great way for them to be transparent. Maybe part of like I'll say 99% of their stuff is legit, and it probably is like literally. There's obviously in anything. It's not just them. I'm not targeting UNICEF by any means. I'm just saying that like there's always going to be that one. I hate to say it, but there's always going to be one. And bad person, bad rule in place. Maybe it is manipulated, whatever. And the way that you can measure that is like, what are they actually doing, right? So like, let's say they got 10 million 1 year. Well, what did they do with that 10 million? And that kind of goes into that PR, right?
Yeah.
So like public relations for you
it's
guys.
Big on it. It comes down to like that's like huge.
Yeah, because like, hey, we built like 10,000 schools, or we built 5,000 new homes. Like that's kind of how you see the transparency. So like, if you see no reporting on like what they've done, then you're like, what the fuck am I doing? Or the problem persists but gets worse.
I think something just as important as showing this is what we did is because, like you said, they're not gonna take a screenshot of their donations page that they can see and say, this is how many donations we got this month. But when it's something significant, more than the I could even take that back. So what I'm getting to is they need to also in some way show what they're getting.
Yeah.
Because if you show me, hey, you built a school and you've been receiving $25 million in donations every month, and that school didn't cost too much, then you're probably going to start to wonder, all right, so you built a school after this is your second post of the year, and we're like in November.
Yeah.
What else have you done with the money? So I think what's important is they could, let's say they receive like something really significant, like, oh, so-and-so donated $1 million.
Yeah.
Then tell us about it. Like, we want to see it because two things off the top of my head. One, that encourages other people to donate. And two, that helps us start keeping like a tally in our head. Okay, we know now they have a milli in the bank. So we should be expecting to see something coming up. And then aside from like the significant donations, I know they have some kind of monthly donation. I give $20 a month, $100, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, quarterly, come out and say, this is how many donators we have. And we get, look, it doesn't have to be, there shouldn't be anything like, oh, that's private information, how much money we have. You're a donation organization.
Yeah.
Like you're particularly taking money from people. We want to know how much money you're in the business of sending money elsewhere to a good cause. So it's like, shouldn't be secrets here, we need to, let's see your money amount. Nothing too crazy. You don't have to get it down to the cent.
Yeah.
And you don't have to tell us how to the penny how much the school costs that we just built, but something that at least gives the donator or the average Joe or just the general public an idea of what they're receiving and what they're doing with this money. I want to get into something else after this, if you want to say something. Yeah.
No, I don't got anything. Yeah. I'm actually, I think this is interesting because like it's really good to talk about because
you want to crack this other bottle or
if you want you can open it and then just pour it in. And yours, obviously. When I'm done, I'll get some.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
We got some new wine. It also
Feeling
rhymes
cool over
with,
here.
with Eastern America. No, it doesn't actually. It still rhymes with North America.
Eastern America.
But this stuff is really interesting because, like, you know, it goes into that checks and balances of a corporation. Because one of the things that's out there that my family deals with is you have those nonprofits and then you have those for-profit organizations. So obviously the nonprofits are better because that corporation entity, whatever you want to consider them, is operating at the what we would assume goodness of their hearts, and it's not always, right? Because and money. We can get into some dirty stuff later in terms of that stuff. It's corruption. But, yeah, it's just really good that these companies try to do things, but you always got to have that oversight. Like I'm taking a college class now, and it's about ethical practices.
You're smart enough to go to college?
No. I just look whatever the cave drawings are, and I just keep passing it on to my kids. Is the ethical practices in criminal justice, but like, I mean, ethical decisions or ethical dilemmas, whatever, are going to plague you wherever you go, no matter what you do, you know? So it's kind of like, it shouldn't just apply to these corporations that are taking money from you. It should apply to your life, you know? Like, what kind of ethical decisions am I making? And I'm not saying, like, question everything. You know, you should be able to process things and over time kind of gather your own questions, you know, or even observations, kind of like process, like, maybe we shouldn't be doing it this way because it is unethical, but just be aware out there, you know, not everybody's in your best interest, and even when they say they are, they're probably not.
Yeah, when it comes to large sums of money, you need to be somewhat inquisitive.
Yeah,
you know?
So like that's why I'm saying, like, the dirty part of it is all right, this is where we get canceled.
No. Come on, we're only 3 episodes deep.
Is religion. Yeah.
How dare you?
We're gonna go down this goddamn dirty, bloody rabbit hole. If I get assassinated, Bo, I love you. I had a good life. Make sure my wife and kid have a good life. Sorry, folks. I'm not necessarily religious. I come from a very religious background. My grandma, or I should say that side, was Catholic. And then growing up, we were Southern Baptists. It's not that I don't believe in God, right? I heard a funny joke today. Some dude was like, no God exists but the one you believe in. And I was like, that's pretty interesting, right? Because there is no proof that God exists other than this.
You know what I got to say about religion?
What?
There is no proof. Ooh, now that's ballsy to say, right?
Dude, I'm telling you, it's gonna get us canceled.
All right, this is the bottom line. Show me the proof of the afterlife. And the way I sit, there's no proof to either side. So when you say, like, so I think people that are completely atheists.
Yeah.
No, there is no God. There is no God.
Yeah.
Those types.
Mm-hmm.
There's no proof that there isn't one. And then when people say there is a God, 1,000% there is a God, I'm like, I don't know. I still don't think there's like proof as in what a scientist today would call proof, you know?
Yeah, well, so that's a problem that you run into that I've come to know is that, like, you say science and then you have people that don't believe in science. Same with math. Like, how is math going to determine what we do in life, right? But then you're like, it has a track record, right? So, like, math, for instance, like, we literally build or have built everything in our modern world. I don't want to say anything in the past because obviously we understand that they use math, but we don't know. It's not necessarily as complex as it was today. And it definitely has led to improvements in technology, the way we live, really. But math, for instance, like when you talk about science and stuff, is like there's non-believers, and you're just like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that it doesn't make sense. It's just like you can't prove it wrong either, right? So like you say like math doesn't matter, and like yeah, you're right. I probably barely use it in my normal day-to-day life, but the fact that it can help us create these things, like maybe it holds some weight in that aspect. So same with like Jesus. People have these experience, or I don't want to say Jesus because there's other religions out there, right? Buddha, Yahweh, fucking stuff like that.
Yahweh?
You never heard of Yahweh?
Mm-mm.
It's not very typical. It's kind
Never
of
heard
like
that
maybe a slang term. I could be wrong.
This is what I will say about religion, though. I love that it exists. Don't get it twisted and think I think religion is stupid and that shouldn't be a thing. I think it's a great thing that exists because there's, like, I grew up in a Christian household around a lot of Christians.
Yeah.
Those people do a lot of just, they hold it to themselves to be I'm not saying this is the only reason why they choose to be a good person, but their religious faith is a heavy influencer on their desire to be good in the world.
Yeah. I mean, scripture's kind of written and directed that way.
So it is a very good thing.
Yeah.
I think it's very good when it's done in the name of good things.
Yeah.
But as far as like, I'm not a believer in, I'm putting all my eggs in. If I were to say there's no God, it's like from a like mathematical or not really mathematical.
It's more scientific or even evolution, right? Like history.
It's like, okay, how do you know that? We don't say that definitely very often. Well,
yeah.
We don't say it at minimum unless there's like hard evidence proof. You don't know because, frankly, there could be a God. How the hell did we end up here? This Big Bang theory thing?
Mm-hmm.
This Big Bang? How did that happen? Was that natural or was that from a God? We don't know. Yeah. So I don't think I'm not going to say you're not allowed, but I don't think you should just put all your eggs into one thing. Like, there is a God. It's like, okay, where's the proof? You have a scripture I do believe Jesus existed. The man Jesus. Yeah. And by the way, I don't think he looked like what we think he looked like. The common portrayal of this white man with, the long flowing blonde hair.
No, he didn't have a beard, right? I think the thing is that he's clean shaven, right?
I thought he had a beard.
I would say American, right? Because that's another thing too, is like how we depict him as like movies, Hollywood too, isn't that? Because what's that? Do you know what I'm talking about when they talk about literally Jesus being hung?
Yeah, it was. I can't remember what it's called.
It's a really good movie. Like,
yeah, it's a popular one.
If you could depict a book, the Bible specifically, that was the way to depict it.
But I'm pretty sure that he was from Persia. He was Persian, modern day Iraq, Afghanistan, Middle East area.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't know Persia, but yeah, I know Middle East for sure.
So he was white then, right?
Yeah.
No, what? Nobody back then from that region of the world, because of evolution, was of the light skin complexion that he's depicted as. That's something I don't think he looked like that.
I mean, it's like it's not white necessarily, but it's definitely that like tan tone.
Let's see what just real quick. I don't want to be on my phone while we're talking, but just a simple Google search. Let's see what.
I had this funny picture.
This deal, I don't think you looked like that.
So that picture, wait, is it? Let me see.
So
I think it's this picture.
So when you do a simple Google search of Jesus, you get a white male with long flowing blonde hair with a large blonde beard.
This is the Jesus that I know.
He definitely doesn't. He's definitely not ripped. He might have been.
I gotta show the camera this one.
Yeah, he's
some yoked dude.
But I'm pretty certain he came from. Yeah, I don't. But I really don't think he looked like that.
One of the pictures of my mom, and like it's still at my family, my mom's side, is that Jesus with like a heart, and like you do the from the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit thing. That might be Catholic. Anyways, it was like a picture of that.
The Christians do that too.
Oh, they do? Okay.
I think Catholic.
Honestly, I've never really been a good
I don't know too much about religion.
Yeah, I've
I
never
should
been
know
good
more,
at it.
but yeah.
But anyways, like what I was talking about is like the fact that like you have these different religions of like who said what, and I remember I forget things all the time. I don't know how I do it. I just forget things.
I was gonna. All right, so now I got two things in the queue that I want to bring up. We're gonna have
Yeah.
to do some backtracking, but keep going.
All right, so
I was thinking of that the other day.
I remember this teacher, Mr. Emeterio. I'm pretty sure I could spell it out. I don't want to, but like it's like that accurate. Like I remember what this dude looked like. He always wore a polo, and he always wore pants. Very rarely would he like.
I hope he had pants on.
He just wore his boxers. But he would never really wear like, if you think of a normal teacher, at least from where I came up, they would wear like slacks and a polo. He never wore a polo, or sorry, slacks. He always wore pants and a polo, if that makes sense. So he's kind of like this weird business but casual, right? Yeah. From what I remember, he had glasses, really cool dude, always spiked his hair. Like he always had this nice professional look to him. Doesn't matter. What I'm getting at is I remember in 8th grade when he was teaching, or 7th grade when he was teaching religion, and I was like, man, like you have this guy over here in this region saying something, and you have this guy in this other region saying something, and maybe they're at conflict just a little bit, right? We'll say inadvertently, not necessarily it's a normal declaration of war. It's just like, hey, we have conflict because you're kind of in our space. And what I mean by this is, as humans, right, if we originated from Africa, if science does prove this, and we kind of went our own way throughout the world, how did we end up on all these different gods, right? That's what I think of, especially if you talk about Native Americans, Incas, Mayans, people here in local America, right? Because you have the supercontinent. Do you remember the name of it? I'm like losing the term.
Nah,
Pangea.
Man. Pangea. Yep.
Pangea.
I was about to say Eritrea. Eritrea. That's a country in Africa.
I'm about to slap that shit out of you.
Yeah, that's very ignorant of me to say.
No, that's all right. I mean, it's a good thing to think about though, because they all these technical terms. I'm sure that actually might have been one over the span of our world. Anyways, doesn't matter. Let me get back to what I'm saying. Is like, if we all started right in this one, let's say Africa, and Pangea is a thing, and we end up going around, and as the world's spinning around in time, right? You can imagine this. Someone's playing a video for you in science class, and we end up kind of getting distant because water, right? So you have these origins of points, and then we go off, and we create religion based off where we live, based off who's ruling, based off what message is going to get out there, right? So like if I'm a king and I don't want you to know something, I'm not going to tell you something. I'm going to say religion, right? Religious ties kind of thing. So like you could say back in, I think it's Mayan Incan stuff, like over in Mexico, you know, they chop the heads off of people, they rip the hearts out because it would be like a sacrifice, right, for the gods, right? So you have this weird transition in history predating all that is like the Greeks would do Zeus, right? He was like the almighty. He was God. And then you come through time and Egyptians did Ra, right? The sun. Yeah. And like during the night he would fight someone else, and then he would come back like, oh, I'm powerful. And then you have the Mayans, Incans doing these weird, well, not for us. It's weird to us. It's normal to them. They're sacrifices with the hearts and all that stuff. And then you have, right, so like Muslims, right, over in Dhaka, they do the whole cow thing, right? You would sacrifice a cow annually. And in, I think it's Christianity, could be wrong. They have the, is it Lent? The annual
That
thing?
is a thing. I don't know.
Like they just give up something, right? So
I'm pretty sure it's Christian.
So how did we get to this point where like we're doing all these different things, right? And then like we have all these different leaders and stuff, and it's like, is religion really a thing in terms of going back to even the original point of religion? Is like, is there even a God? And if there's not, how do you prove it? Because you can't say one or the other. You kind of have to be on this fence of like constantly questioning, like, you know, I'm gonna point to there is a God because I have this evidence of people. Like my dad, for instance, he talks about it all the time. He was at a funeral, and he remembers like looking out. I don't know if it was over a casket. I can't remember the detail on it. And he remembers seeing like this weird head. It was literally just a head with wings. And I'm like, that's kind of weird to think of. You know, it's kind of in concept, even to describe. I'm sure it was hard for him. And he's saying like he remembers seeing like what he thought was an angel right? So like we talk about guardian angels and stuff in terms of like American religion, or Western, I should say. So you have this proof, right? This my dad, right, who I'm gonna believe, obviously, because he's my dad, saying like, man, maybe God is real or some sort of higher power is out there,
Yeah.
because he had this weird illusion. It wasn't like he was high, right? He was just normal, walking to a funeral and like, holy shit, what the fuck did I just see? Like, like how we kind of do with UFOs and stuff. But anyways, is like if we're experiencing these different things that are proving it, like how did we end up on different pages? Like how are we gonna say this one dude that had this adversity in life, let's say Buddha, I don't know if you know the history on him. I learned it from Mr. Materio. Is that this guy basically had everything in life, like all the way up to 16, I think is what it was. And then for the first time, he saw like a poor boy, and he was like, "Holy shit! Like let's help this guy out. Like, why are we not? Like, what's going on?" Like, it was the first time he ever, it just like mind blew him. And after that point, he started realizing, like, man, like there's more out there than what my vision is, right? Because he was every day, like, imagine the president, like, being constantly fed with information, like, hey, what do you want to do on this? What do you want to do on that? So, like, this, kid from birth all the way up is like, you're going to go to a circus from 4 to 2, or from 2 to 4, and then from 4 to 6, you're going to go eat, and then from 6 to 8, you're going to meet this prince, right? And then you're going to go to bed. And then the next day is going to be different. You're going to do something every hour of the day. And what I mean by that is, like, you're going to... I'm trying to think of how to word this the best way. Is you're going to experience these different things across all religions, and they're also very specific. But it's like, how do we come to that conclusion when we all originated from, like, one place?
I see what you mean.
You know?
You would think we
would be on the same page.
Yeah, because we're in Africa, modern Africa. I think the Horn of Africa in particular for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, for sure, we came up with a religion at that stage of our evolution and like our spread throughout the world. So it seems like that would just followed us everywhere. And then modern day, we have the world known religion.
Yeah, like we could shake hands, right? Like let's say 4,000 years later, and
that'd be awesome. I'd be a fan of that.
Yeah.
And don't get it twisted. I love the First Amendment, and I want everybody to do their religion.
Yeah. Definitely.
I'm just saying, because I'm more of like the show me the proof kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I'm not in either. I think it's called agnostic, where you don't know. I do believe that there is.
Okay. So yeah, atheist is you don't believe in anything.
Yeah.
And then I'm guessing agnostic is you believe something exists.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. You believe that there's something more.
Yeah.
Which, as I said, if you're atheist, then it's like, okay, how do you not know there's how do you know there's nothing? And when you're a believer of any faith, and people will get mad, it's like it's very opinionated, because all you gotta do is look at go up to just go up to any religion and say, why don't you worship this God? And then one of their answers might be because they don't exist, because my God exists.
Yeah.
And it becomes this thing of, no, it's my God versus your God.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
what's going on? Like, who?
Have you? And then it comes down to no, it's all in just like miracles. Miracles happen. And,
Yeah.
And there's our God, but that's still opinionated. I think that's
Definitely
not proof. It's not no shit proof.
Like that's the thing is like what is it? Causation is not correlation.
Yeah, correlation doesn't equal causation.
Yeah. So it's like one of those things. Like I used to watch this show, Channel 17 for Colorado. I don't know what it is now. There's this dude. I don't know his name, but I know he has like a mole on his face. It's kind of a weird, like, distinct mole. He wears glasses. Pretty presentable gentleman, I'll say. He has a really good role in some movie, but I don't remember at the moment. And he would talk about miracles. Like, it was like not a religious channel, but more towards that. Like they'd have shows related about religion. And I remember that he was basically going around talking about like, man, this is a miracle. Jesus is real. And like I was not disagreeing. I was just like more curious about like how these miracles came about. And it'd be like, this guy touched my son and he like out of all circumstances like beat cancer, right? Or like the doctor was like, he's gonna die, there's a 99% chance he's gonna die, and somehow he made it through. It's a miracle. Jesus, I prayed so hard that night and it worked. And I'm like, you praying doesn't mean that was the reason behind your son. Like, there's so many unexplainable things that we have just as humans. Like, if you even think about the way we're created, like the amount of daily replication of our DNA that happens, and like, how do you know that like maybe his DNA replicated the right way for this period to help, you know, alleviate whatever issues he was having? You can't just say like, oh, that's God. Like, I believe in God and I prayed and like this is it. Like, yes, you can believe that. I'm not saying don't, but what I'm saying is like, just question it. Just like ask yourself deeply, like, is my opinion of this, right? Me praying, the reality of what actually happens.
And I think
it doesn't have to be explained either. It just question it.
Yeah, that's why it's kind of like how I said. I believe that there's too many crazy things that happen in this world. One, the fact that we're even here.
Yeah.
If you want to go down that long rabbit hole of like, dude, is there a higher power? It almost makes you think there's no other way. And another thing is like, if you ask people from all different religious faiths on, we'll just say, this young person, this young boy or girl had cancer, a month later, cancer free. Okay. How'd that happen? The Christian will say, well, Jesus Christ did it.
Yeah, I prayed every day.
The Muslim will say,
Allah.
Yeah, Allah. Oh shit, I was about to say Abraham.
What?
That's the Jews, Judaism.
Yeah.
The Jews will say it had something to do with Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird. It's like, well, what if? Do you think Jesus did it? Is there a bunch of gods, or is there just one? There's only one God.
Mm-hmm.
What about the Christians? What about Jesus? He doesn't exist? No, he doesn't. Okay, so it's all this annoying. Like, look, just be a believer of there's a higher power. Period.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you have to be. I'm saying I love all your religions. I'm just looking at it from the perspective of I don't want to pick a side here. I just want to believe that there's something higher, period.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's completely okay. Does it have a name? No. He or she? No. It's just something. And something I used to say is at this point now, we have, in my opinion, more proof that we are going towards let's get into simulation theory. Okay. Yeah, I'll just finish my sentence. We're getting more closer and closer to a simulated reality. We have proof of that now. We don't have... It's the equivalent of... So if you have simulation set to the side, and then you also have... We live in a simulation, and we are living in a world, and we exist in something that was created by a god, or a creator.
Yeah.
As far as I know, we have zero evidence of a human being, if you're Christian faith, and I don't know too much about religion, but I'm pretty sure it comes from a person who became some holy power, and then in Christianity rose from the dead, and we have no evidence of a person like that existing today, like a modern no-joke god.
The only thing that we have is really scripture, right?
Yeah.
The message. There is one.
Because that's what all religion has come from.
Yeah. The Quran, text. The Bible. Yeah. I don't know what the other ones are, but yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't heard of any person currently in modern time exhibiting powers of that which of a god.
Yeah.
But we have simulations, video games, VR in particular, getting better and better every year.
Yeah.
We have proof and evidence that we have the ability to create simulations, and we are going towards a more realistic every year simulation.
Yeah.
So I want to almost lean towards more the simulation thing. Am I saying we live in simulation? I don't know.
There's good proof there, right? Like deja vu,
But, like, yeah.
the black cat thing. Like if you see, well, there's two things on that. It's
But do you see what I'm saying though
Yeah.
about that? That's one of my opinions that I think is probably like, ugh, one of those, simulation, you fucking weirdo.
yeah,
But do you see what I'm saying? Like we have hardly any proof besides scripture of this, and people say that that's all the proof you need, which is great. Believe what you want to believe. I don't care.
Yeah.
I get to believe what I want to believe. You know.
yeah,
It goes both ways. And I'm not talking bad about any religion. I like them all. I'm glad they exist. But the simulations, we humans have exhibited the ability to create in 2021, even video games and VR, very realistic simulations. So, like, where are we going with this?
yeah. What are we like? What's the desired outcome, right?
In the year 3000, are we going to have something that's where the simulation and simulation theory comes from? We're in a simulation now, and we're just going down this path, and we're going to create another one. So it's Inception.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that movie. I love it. It's really good. Ready Player One.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like,
That's a good one.
you're like in this very what's the word for it? It just slipped me. Slum. You're like in the slums, right? Like the main character is like in this very compact area of like life's conditions aren't very good, not at least what they are today in terms of like middle America. This is like the term.
Middle class.
Middle class.
Yeah.
So like it's not like a brick and mortar like where you have these huge neighborhoods, all the houses are the same. It's not like that in this movie. It's like you have one giant village, all the houses are the same, but like they're stacked on top of each other, for instance. So like, maybe that's the point that we get to is like we kind of no longer care about our living conditions. We care more about the simulation, these fake, but they feel real thoughts, emotions, actions kind of thing. So like we can invest more time in that because maybe that's more connected. Like this is a weird way to think, but like that's more connecting. That's how social media, that's how I connect to other people. That's kind of how I find my corner in the world, right? So introverts versus extroverts. What is it?
Intro and extra. Yep.
Yeah. So it's like if I'm an introvert, right? Like I really want the simulation. I want to push for this so hard, and it's not because I'll talk about this too because I think it's really it's been blowing my mind actually lately. Is like. So the simulation fact, right, that you're like an introvert and that you want to be in the simulated reality because it's going to give you more connections, right? So like, I don't know how to talk to somebody in another language, but because the game, right, let's say auto interprets, and whenever I talk to somebody, it's as if it's in my native language. So like, if I were to exit the simulation, it would be very difficult to talk to this person because I have no idea what they're saying, right? Like, it doesn't auto interpret, for instance. So I could travel to Japan and I don't speak Japanese, but if I'm in the simulation right next to this Japanese person, I can turn to him or her and like talk to them as if it's English, right? But to them, it's Japanese. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So like I can connect to more people and I can relate because I find all the people that love NASCAR, right? So like I can connect to everybody around the world, even if it's like in places you would never think NASCAR would reach, and you should start talking about it, right? So like, man, like let's push this simulation theory. Like, come on, please, Elon, Lex, anybody with genius, please push this, because it not only replaces social media, but it is the social media, right? So like, it's not necessarily the censoring, but it's like this is our new reality. So when you talk about like, oh man, I experienced that before, and it's like maybe you did because you've been so divested or invested, into this simulation that like your life is literally a simulation, right? You're like, when you go out in town, maybe you've experienced that because that's all your life is a simulation. So like, when you're like, oh, I saw this at work, and it's like, yeah, well, it's like all you're doing is work, right? But the question that has plagued me this past couple weeks, specifically since January, for whatever reason, is like we think about like this funny thing, like imagine like America, right? For instance, like it's really modern, like you have Silicon Valley, and then you go to a third world country and they're not the same way, and you're like, whoa, what are you doing, bro? Or like, let's say like the dude in your like where you work, he's like working on Excel, and you show him something, and he's like, "Whoa, no way, bro." It's like the same way that I kind of think like when we think of our past is like how we think people communicated. So what I'm trying to get at is it's more of a Hollywood thing that maybe portrays it. Maybe it was that way. Is like, let's say the 50s, right? The men would wear the nice hats. They'd wear like the trench coats, and then they'd be always in business attire, right? And then they'd like tip their hat, or they'd always have a smoke, right? Like that was a thing back then. It was like smoking cigarette, compared to today, where like you smoke a cigarette, you're unhealthy, you're a nasty piece of shit. But back then it was like, oh, he's smoking a cigarette. Like, hey, Susan, you want a cigarette? Like, oh yeah, I'll take a cigarette, right? So like, what I'm getting at here is that like, what was communication like back then, right? So we can only infer based off of what we've seen. And I just think like today, the more we advance as humans, like we're getting more and more
We're losing
away.
our humanity.
Yeah, we're getting from that humanity and that conversation, and it drives me to like what I was talking about earlier is like if I say somebody, I say hello, and then it stops there, and they're like, "Oh, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Good," and then it stops, and then like, it just like bugs me. I'm like, I want to tell you my life story. I want to have a podcast in this hallway or in this street, and it's like, what was it like back then? Like, how did we communicate, and where? Social media is where we went wrong. The internet, right? We know that. But, like, what was it like before that? How did we return to that?
And I have something to add to that here in a little bit. Something I've been thinking about.
Yeah.
But back then, it was definitely more real, I guess you could say. It wasn't cheap and quick, I guess you could say.
Like, things took time?
Yeah, you didn't call them up. There wasn't no immediate. There was a lot of effort into it. You wanted to talk to someone? Well, guess what? We'll even go back before phones, telephones, the invention of a telephone.
Sorry, this is cool. I'm listening.
Yeah. You want to talk to someone back then? Well, you're going to them in person. You're not even calling them up and tell them you're dropping by. You're going by and you're going to knock on their door in person. They're going to greet you in person. You're going to say, hey, this, that, the other. I want to come over for dinner. Is that okay? Or they live a little bit away. You're going to, guess what you're going to do? You're going to break out the pen and paper. Sorry, the ink and feather and paper. You're going to write a nice.
That far back?
Yeah, I'm talking before telephones.
Yeah,
and you're going to write a nice. Everything took time, and it was like really invested. It wasn't this cheap, hey, what's going on? I could send that in that amount of time. It wasn't like just trivia. If you received like a handwritten letter, from a friend, not even an email, not anything like that. It would like mean something to you, something you want to like hold on to.
Yeah, like think of just the email, right? You usually send it because you want something, and not because you're interested, because you want to know more. It's like, hey, for instance, like this company, right? Like they fucked up my order. Like, hey, you fucked up your order. I'm an upset customer. Fix this problem. Mm-hmm. Back then, you would write a letter and you'd be like, Joey, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, what's going, like, the latest thing in your life? Let me know.
Everything had more like just time. It was more time consuming. So that meant you had to be. Look, everybody appreciates it when it's like, wow, you gave up a lot of time to do this, didn't you, man? For me,
yeah,
just to write this letter when you could have sent me a text that took way less time and way less energy and everything electronically. And it's just like FaceTime and all that. It's good. It should be used as supplementary, you know?
Yeah, not the primary.
You're gonna because in that, if you look at it, how social media intended to be used when it was first born, it's good. If it was used as a supplementary thing, you're gonna FaceTime this person or you're gonna text them, but the end intention is you're going to be there in person, because guess what? That's how we are.
Yeah.
I don't care what you think. That's how we are as a human being. This shit has existed for 5 seconds in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
I mean, we've spent way more time not being that way. It's this stuff, sitting down, talking to people. This is how we make decisions as a group. We sit here and talk.
Yeah.
But something the losing your humanity piece. That's one thing I hate about the masks.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't get to see people's emotions. You know, you see this much of their face.
Yeah.
This
Their
the
literally
mouth.
facial expression.
Yeah, their mouth.
Yeah.
It's just you're schwacking all the emotions off of people. So you look at people and they might as well be wearing a mask. It's like, what is this person thinking?
Yeah.
You only got the eyes, and you can't when the mouth is covered up. For me, I still cannot differentiate a smile under a mask unless you see the cracks around the eyes.
Yeah.
But I hate that because I want to know. It's dehumanizing. That there's no emotion in this.
They're just a person, basically.
Yeah, there's no. There is emotion, but it's very. I haven't been able to do it, so maybe it's easier for other people. But for me, it's difficult to humanize with them. It's like, how are you feeling today? You're good? I can't tell. I can't.
You can't read the book.
Yeah, I can't. I'm going off your eyebrows and your eyes alone. So I can't read your emotions. So it takes the humanity. It's like I walk past this person and they say something. It's like, do they say that with a smile? I crack a joke and they just look at me. But are they really just looking at me? Maybe they're smiling under that. I can't tell.
Yeah.
So are they just staring at me? Because there's a big difference if someone just looks at you like, yeah, but in reality,
But you don't see nothing.
Yeah, in reality, they're cracking a small grin. And the flip side, people don't get my sarcasm now as often because I'll say something, and under my mask, and without a mask, it would be obvious.
Yeah.
I'm saying something snarky and grinning at the same time. I'm fucking joking with you.
Yeah.
But guess what? When you have the mask on, it takes that away. So that's one thing I hate about the mask. It's taken the humanizing aspects out of us, and you almost like can't gauge what other people are doing. People can't gauge you, like what your thoughts or your sarcasm is, if you're joking, whatever, what have you.
Yeah, I've run into that issue specifically like today, even like literally as recent as today. I was like, I ate lunch, whatever, and I was just trying to clean my teeth out, and like as I was walking, I was doing this, and I was like, someone's gonna notice that, like, I'm cleaning my, like, I'm like vividly, like, my tongue is swirling around my mouth, and I was like, wait, I'm wearing a mask. And then there'd be things like where I'd say something to somebody and I'd like smile at them, and I'm like, oh bro, they can't see my smile. And like that's literally what it is. It's like you can't read the room, right? So like when you walk in, you just like
they're expressionless.
Yeah, you just see this face, and like with a mask, it's the eyes or whatever. And it's just it's sad because it's like
it sucks the emotional cues out of everyone. Yeah, there's an emotionless thing. Yeah, I hate it. You know what? I think some people have gotten more ballsy now because they feel more secure under their mask.
Yeah, but then it's like, what do you feel secure? Like, I mean, so like the initial push, right, for not wearing masks was like if you capture a video of a criminal and they're wearing a mask. An actual criminal before COVID would wear a mask because they don't want their identity to be seen, right? So like if you have everybody without an identity, right, to track, what are the consequences of that? We don't know. It's still so new.
Mm-hmm. What I mean by people being more ballsy is so if someone is more socially awkward, we'll say.
An introvert. Or not even that.
Yeah. Maybe they go hand in hand. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm kind of socially awkward. Mm-hmm. To feel a little bit more comfortable, like out and about, we'll say in a crowded room or whatever. Maybe you have a little bit of anxiety, or are they looking at me? Oh, maybe I did something weird there. Like maybe my expressions were weird or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like looking a little uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Well, guess how you would fix that? You would put a full-on mask. When you're in that kind of situation, it's like you kind of just want to cover up.
Yeah.
For example, like if you went to a Halloween party and you're wearing a full-on costume, and it covered up your face and all that.
Yeah.
Your anxiety is kind of subsided because people can't see you. They can't like gauge your like.
You're just a figure to them, literally.
So when you put a mask on and you cover up half your face, you're getting a little bit of that. You get that feeling of you're kind of covering up. It's like, haha, they can't quite see me. That I can hide away a little bit. So in some ways, the mask, I use the word ballsy. Maybe I mean more comforting.
Yeah.
It can be almost a little bit more comforting to them because they're able to kind of like escape behind that realm, that curtain.
It's like a facade.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make a little bit of sense? Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that it's like, right, if you see less of your face, like, you're going to be less inclined to, like, maybe say something.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I've seen that thing where, like, I'll say something to somebody as I'm passing by them, right? Like, hey, how's it going? Or good morning. And, you know, they just kind of, like, look at me. And, like, you can't, like, again, you can't read their emotion. You don't know what they're thinking. Like, they might
could be
like,
smiling under that.
Yeah, they could be, definitely. Or they could be like, who the fuck is this guy, right? And it's just like, man, like, I really want to interact with you, but it's like, I don't know, like, what I should do with you. Because, like, this comfortableness of, like, hey, I can hide behind it. Oh, like, I'm walking, but you can't see who I am, right? So, like, if I see you again in 10 minutes, you're not going to know it's me. But, like, obviously you do. But, like, it's just a really weird way to, like, disguise who you are and conceal that, you know?
One thing that is good that came out of the mask. So something about me, happens all the time. I'll be somewhere, I'll be eating, doesn't matter the situation, and I'll think of something that's funny, and I'll grin about it, but I won't be around anybody. So if someone was be looking at me, they would just see this dude grinning about nothing. Like, what is this guy grinning about?
Yeah.
But guess what I can do now because of the mask? I can do that in comfort. In incognito mode.
Knowing no one's judging you.
I
think that's the big thing is judgment, right?
There you go. That's what it comes down to. There's less. Like I can be, I don't know. You could go somewhere and you could look around. You could, I don't know, see something that makes you grin because this person just, I don't know, did something silly. He slipped and you thought it was funny. And well, guess what you can do now? You can grin about that.
Yeah.
When before you'd have to be like, oh, and like cover yourself because, you know, this thing of covering your laughter. Well, guess what? You got a thing that does it for you now all the time. It has this concealing aspect that can work in the favor of some people. Well, not some people, just people who. It comes in handy sometimes. I'll say that, but I still think. Look, I just want to get back to our humanity. That the mask to me it takes away the. I don't want to talk to someone's half face from their nose up. I want to talk to their whole face. I want to look at their entire face.
Yeah.
Like a human.
Because then you can be like, you can even change the conversation, right? Like, what was that face for? Like, what? Like,
oh,
did you not like my
wrong?
joke?
Yeah, I must have said something wrong. What?
Yeah. Or you adjust, right? That's a big thing.
I could be talking to you, and with the mask on, I could just be. I could be doing that the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's weird. It's taking away what it means to be a human as far as our like interactions go day to day. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean,
like
at work too. Like the thing is, like, I will catch myself, like, you know, sometimes, like, even small, like, I'll laugh and I'm like, oh, that's funny, and then, like, you know, obviously I'm the only one doing what I'm doing at work, and then, like, I'll like look over, for instance, and then, like, you know, everyone's doing their own thing, and I'm like, oh man, they're probably thinking something about me because they can see that I'm laughing. But if I had like a mask, I don't know. I just feel like it'd be a little different. I'd be able to hide it better. But like I feel like that sense of like, oh God, I don't got my mask on. I'm being judged more. And then like if I have it on, like, I don't know. I think it's a good thing, like that you pointed out. It's easy to hide behind. You know.
I might have to take an intermission, man.
Dude, I gotta go pee myself. So you better hurry up, Bo.
All right, talk to the camera.
Are you gonna do it? Oh, look at you getting all ballsy. I guess it's my turn to do the intermission. Yeah, we could talk about who we are. So I'm a young buck. Jonah's a young buck. We started this idea. I think it was January when we started realizing, because we met in 2018, me and him. He came to me as someone I looked over in terms of work. He came pretty much fresh from where we come from, where I work. I'm not probably ever going to talk about it, because if you know, you know. You don't know, then I don't care that you don't know. We'll kind of do this good thing about talking about where we work periodically and referencing it. And what I'm trying to get at is I met him a long time ago, and we pretty much hit it off right away. He's a very good person. His personality and mine, I don't want to say necessarily align, but they align enough to where we can easily cooperate with one another. We can easily we can converse, right? That's obviously why we're doing this conversation. But I remember back then when he was a little pup. I think he was like, I don't know, 19 or some shit, maybe even 20. I don't know. I know he was 20. Yeah. And I just remember it's kind of like a little brother for you women out there, a little sister, or even if you do have a little brother, kind of like guiding him in life, like, hey, not just that work stuff, but like, this is what I've learned in life. This is maybe what you'd want to do, kind of like put your attention here. So kind of like a mentorship thing. But yeah, ever since I knew him then, I knew he had a good head on his shoulders and kind of didn't, honestly, I remember the day that I left DACA, which is where we met, that I never thought I'd see him again. I was going to give him a handshake because I thought it was just a thing to do. I don't know, me and one of my buddies, that's all we do is handshakes. And he said, nah, Bo, give me a hug. And I gave him a hug, and I kind of thought.
I remember that.
The last time I'd see him was getting in the car, going to the airport. Because, at that point in life, I was pretty ready to get the hell out of there, get my break out of life, get vacation in my day. And, yeah, here we are today. Somehow thousands of miles away.
That's the simulation for you, man.
Ended up in the same room.
That's the believing of the higher power.
Yeah. I mean, what put us here today?
Yeah.
We don't know.
It's the higher power.
Hey, you want to do a cheers?
Yeah, cheers. You talking shit about me while I was gone?
Yeah, that's all I did was talk shit.
I might go over the equipment.
Yeah,
I'll just answer questions that don't even exist. Nobody.
Someone's sitting over
there.
there.
All right, fine. I'll tell you the equipment. So, equipment. If you guys are interested. Nobody's asked, so I'm just assuming you might be interested. Rocking the now I gotta remember the MV7s by Shure. These are I think they're new. They're fairly new. They're the USB podcast mics. And yeah, the target audience for those are streamers, and podcasters, two big ones. Powered by a single USB cord right here. Can be used with the XLR, but we don't have that. So, yeah, super easy setup. Just plug it straight into the laptop. GarageBand for Mac is what we use for recording. And the foam, or the windscreen as they call it, is for the Shure SMB7s, which is the higher end Joe Rogan microphone. So it's the Joe Rogan foam, and it was said that these mics sound significantly better with that foam. So when I dropped that on there, the mics came as a combo actually as well. So the boom and the headphones that we wear comes as a full thing. Headphones they're decently good. Could be a little bit more comfortable. They get a little bit uncomfortable after a little bit. Camera wise, they're the Panasonic HV180K, I think it was called. Cheap, feels like a toy. These things are incredibly cheap feeling, and monetarily cheap. But record at 1080/60, so pretty decent. Rocking one 4 or that was probably 8-inch ring light for a little bit extra lighting. And then aside from that, it's just lighting in the room. Yeah, that's about it. Software-wise, GarageBand for audio, iMovie for video. So, it's possible, folks. Anybody can do this. You just need two dumbasses to talk behind the microphones, and you got a show.
It's as easy as walking and chewing bubblegum.
Yeah.
You ask me.
It's quite easy. I thought it'd be a little bit more difficult when we came up with this conceptual idea. We're like, yeah, let's do a podcast. And I was like, oh man, how much work actually goes into it? It's pretty. The thing that takes the most is the editing.
Yeah,
God damn.
for sure.
And that's why, because we don't. What you see in the video is done by hand. The editing is the camera switches is done by hand. We don't have. It's not a Jamie on Joe Rogan. It's not live editing, live camera switching. It's all right. He talks. All right, cut him out. Now he's talking. Cut him out. It's monotonous. So if your video that you're editing is 2 hours, it's a 2-hour conversation. Then it's gonna take 4 hours to edit because you're gonna spend 2 hours watching it, and then you'll be sitting there for like 30 minutes cutting back and forth, back and forth. And you're only after that you're only 10 minutes deep into the video. So it takes a while, but that's the price you pay when you don't have professional stuff with a third man as your producer. Something I was going to talk to you about, though.
Yeah.
Hardware-wise, they actually have a... What's the Rodecaster?
Like specifically, like what kind of instrument is it?
Yeah, what is that?
It's like an all-in-one, right?
Yeah.
So like you plug all your shit in there, and then you just kind of hit buttons, and then...
So it has a mixer. Yeah, it's that type of thing. But
Yeah.
it has some software built into it. And it will automatically switch the cameras for you if it detects audio coming through that channel.
No way.
Yes.
Is it a Rodecaster or...
No, it's some other
thing?
brand. It was a high-dollar piece of equipment. It was like a $1,500 panel. And when both mics are receiving audio, then it switches to the third camera for the overall view.
Oh,
yeah.
so like if we're both talking like right now, it would just bam
Yep.
out.
And then you can set delay because I don't think it looks good when as soon as you start talking, it cuts to.
Yeah,
I don't
it'd
like
be
that.
definitely a delay.
Yeah,
like
you need like
seconds.
just a little bit, like a 3/4 of a second maybe.
Yeah.
For him to start talking, it switches, and you can
Maybe
set that
that's
up.
what Jamie does. You know, because you think about it, like Joe will say something or the guest, and then it'll like stay on them for a little bit, and then it'll cut over.
It feels good.
It's smooth.
It feels better. But something I was thinking about, so if you wanted to, let's say, not have a third guy editing your podcast live, and you want to just switch that, well, I need a person to switch it. I'll have this thing switch it for you.
Yeah.
There is several instances on Rogan's show that he doesn't say anything, and he'll like there's videos that are called like so and so blows Joe Rogan's mind.
Yeah.
And it's like a clip, and they'll say something, and he won't say anything, and he'll just be like, he'll do that number.
Oh, like how we're talking, like it's like this clickbaity thing.
Yeah. So he'll do that, but he won't say anything. So if it wasn't for the human behind it, who's like, oh, let me get the camera on him, look at his reaction, you wouldn't have that content. You wouldn't have him without saying anything, just reacting through expression and not by words.
Yeah.
So you would lose that if you only had the piece of hardware that switches, because all it knows is like, oh, I hear audio, switch to that camera. Oh, audio's coming from that one, switch to that camera.
Yeah.
So if you only had that, you would lose, and it's a pretty big deal. Like throughout all of his podcasts, there's several instances where he won't say anything and he'll just react.
Yeah.
Even on Lex, I'm sure that happens too.
Yeah, he'll be like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
Like no way, or like he'll go into it and stuff. Yeah, I think it definitely. This is a good topic to go into. Is kind of going into the reality of our future, kind of letting them know. So like me and Jonah here, me and Bo, don't have the eternity, forever. You know, it's gonna be limited time like it was the first time we met, and we're gonna have to decide what we want to do together mutualistically. Moving forward with the channel.
We're gonna get married.
Sorry, I don't want to say. Can I say? Yeah.
What?
Can I say?
No.
No. All right. Yeah. Sorry, ladies out there. He's taken by me. You better get ready, because if you want him, well, it looks like it's gonna be what is that where you have multiple husbands and wives? It's like a Utah thing.
Matrimony?
No, it's something else. Polygamy.
Polygamy.
You better be ready for that polygamy relationship. But anyways, I'm just kidding. What I'm trying to get at is like, God damn it, Bo, I hate when I do this.
Yeah, because you go on that stupid ass tangent of unrelated stuff
all the time.
And of course you forget, and then you wonder why you forget.
Okay, I remember now. Fortunately for you guys, is, you know, my in-laws, they are, you know, by law, my in-laws. My wife's cousin and her husband, you know, we talked about it briefly offline about being multiple people. So I talk about this and the realism of equipment and the realism of you kind of lose that in-person experience, right? What we've been literally talking about, you know, like especially with masks and stuff. Is I kind of like it's something that's been on my mind all week too. Is I'm like, all right, when it comes time that we're not able to do this in-person experience, what do we do? So I was like thinking like, man, he could be on Skype, I could be on Skype, and you know we could record it literally how we are, one camera per person, and we focus more on the face-to-face. But then I'm like, I see what he's getting at with the in-person experience, right? Because like, I don't know how to explain it, but when you're talking to somebody and you're on, like, let's say FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, it doesn't matter, Microsoft Office, there's like this thing missing. Yes, you're getting the audio, you see the person, you see the live reaction, and it's just like this weird ambiance.
I call it the human experience.
That's literally what it is.
It's just, you can't really come up with a...
You can't replicate it.
The humanizing factor.
Yeah. Technology does not or cannot...
Vicinity, that was the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can't replicate it, right? So, like, I bring this up because, like, if we were to do, bring these two people in, which I hope we could in the future. If we can't, whatever, it's fine. Not a big deal. I mean, we want to bring on other people in the future, right?
Shout out to Lex Friedman.
Elon Musk. Dude, I got to try that plaid, bro. You got, yeah. You got to give me that one.
If we get Lex Friedman on the show, and he's over here.
I thought something about him. He put an ad on YouTube today or yesterday.
An ad on YouTube?
Yeah. So, like, I don't want to say ad, but, like, an advertisement. So, like, you know how YouTube tries to be a social media platform now? So, like, you can post a post. So you could say, hey, I haven't been able to post because my internet's been down. And then, like, it's more of a comment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can make posts, yeah.
Yeah. So they can post. Yeah, that's the thing. So he said, like, hey, I'm trying to...
hiring.
Huh? Yeah, he is.
Yeah. That's what you were about to say?
Yeah. Did you see that or no?
Yeah, I saw that. Of course.
That's what I'm saying is, like, hey, like, he's hiring because he's like, more famous, right? He's, like, done his time.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because, like, he's probably sick and tired of editing these fucking podcasts that are 2 hours long.
Yeah.
As he said, he was like, he's a one-man team. I don't know how that guy, he's extremely disciplined, balancing, because he's even training for that it was on the hiring thing, the David Goggins.
4x48?
Yeah.
Dude, I was like, what the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? Honestly, I don't know. I usually see 4x4.
Yeah.
But what is 4x48? Like, math. I don't do math.
So it's with David Goggins, so obviously it's probably going to be some kind of physical fitness
He's going to get shit. Well, he's going to last. He's going to get shit on, but he's going to do it.
He's going to endure. They run 4 hours. No. Back up. They run
4 minutes.
4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. So they run 48 miles total in 2 days.
I had a prior work acquaintance do that. He would, I think it was every 4 hours, he would run 3 miles. I don't know if it might have been 4. It could have been 3 though. Every 4 hours for 48 hours. Very like what him and Goggins are doing. But anyways, go back to that's what it means though. Is just a sprint, or is it a sprint or an
No,
endurance?
it's just well, so it's so the story behind the story behind.
Nope.
Okay, so Goggins does this every year around this time. I don't know how many years he's been doing it.
Yeah.
Last year, Lex did it as well. He did it so what it is, it's more like a social media thing. Like, hey, record your we're gonna live stream. I'm gonna live stream it. Goggins is gonna live stream it, and hey, let's do it together. All right. So if it's like safe where you are, and because you're gonna be running at odd hours of the night.
Yeah.
If it's like safe for you to do it, we encourage you to participate and film your way through it or something. Share your story. So Lex did this last year in that fashion. He recorded it and he did it. Well, this year, Goggins came out and said, hey, we're doing the 4x4x48 challenge again. And Lex went on there. You can find it. I think it was on Instagram. He said, I'm in. And people started calling him out, and Goggins saw it.
Yeah.
And was like, you coming with me to run it? So Lex in the past has done like these other workout things he's done.
Solo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lex himself has done solo things, and then Goggins called him out on his bullshit.
Yeah.
And stuff. So for example, I'll come back to the 4x4. So
I'm listening. Keep going.
So at some point, Lex did a workout, little fitness thing, where he kind of just like did it out of the blue. I think he was like, "All right, I'm gonna do this many pull-ups, this many push-ups, and this amount of run for X amount of days."
Yeah.
Well, then he came back and was like, "All right, to avoid injury, I'm gonna not do this and this," and it made sense because it was some outrageous number. I was like, "You're gonna get hurt," so it made sense to me. I was like, "No joke, you're gonna cut it back because you're gonna get hurt." Well, then Goggins responded in a video. It was like, "Hey man, I see you saying you're gonna do this, this, and that, and then now you're saying I'm not gonna do this, this, and that. So if you're gonna say something, say fucking true to it, man. Like, don't back out of it and everything."
Yeah.
And then like Lex played that video, and he was like, he was like, "Hey, if Goggins calls you on your bullshit, then you got to fix it." So he's like a believer in like, hey, he calls you out, and then it's like game on. You don't want to back out of it. I mean,
yeah, like my word is my bond.
Yeah,
like that's like a gentleman's thing too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Lex this year is in person, going to go to the Vegas area. He didn't specify it's in the i.e. the desert, because most of Nevada is a desert. He's gonna go do this challenge with Goggins, and he talked about it on Rogan, and he's like nervous about it. And he actually put up a video the other day of his training regime he's gonna do in order to prepare, because he's anticipating it being, all right, we're gonna run 4 miles. Well, hey, we only took how long does it take to run 4 miles? Probably 30 or so minutes.
Yeah.
Hey, we only took 30 minutes to do this. We got 3.5 hours. We're going to just sit around and fucking be dumb? No, we're going to do some more training.
Yeah.
And then guess what? When that 4th hour comes around, we're going to run another 4 miles. Like, he's anticipating it not being, and of course it's going to be like this with him. This dude is fucking crazy, dude. I would be terrified to work out with this guy.
Yeah.
Like, what he's anticipating it being is it's going to be 30 minutes of running and 3.5 hours of doing some extracurricular crazy shit.
It's going to be a fucking hell week in 48 hours.
He's going to be getting hazed, and he's going to be getting fucked up.
Yeah.
And he's like ready for this. He posted his training regime, and he's basically doing a good bit of body weight exercises and incrementally increasing his runs. And I think he finishes up with a 12-mile run 3 days before he does the actual thing.
So it's like 3 runs in one.
What do you mean?
Like leading up to it, right? So like if
Yeah.
you do 3 runs before like one solid run, it's gonna feel easy.
Yeah.
Especially enduring for 2 days.
Yeah, that's his idea. He's gonna I'm pretty sure it was 12 miles was gonna max out at for him. So when he gets to 4 miles, it's gonna be like, oh, this is easy. But after this is under his training regime is under the circumstance of what I'm assuming is regular sleep.
Yeah.
Normal sleep. He gets up in the morning after 8 hours of sleep, does his workout, and then does a podcast if he has that, or edits the video.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the 4x4, dude, after. So let's. I don't know when it starts. It starts in the afternoon, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So they start this challenge in the afternoon. We'll say 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So between 4 and 8 in the evening, you're going to run 4 miles. All right? So easy. That's just like kind of like normal times. You're not going to be just running 4 miles. You're going to be getting fucking hazed by Goggins.
Literally, by Goggins himself.
And then from 8 to midnight, another. And then midnight to 4, are you sleeping? Are you staying up? What are you doing? You're gonna run. You might be slowing down at this point, so maybe it takes you upwards of 40 minutes to run to 4 miles.
Yeah.
You're at a 10-minute mile pace now. So now you have 3 hours and 20 minutes of potential rest. Is it going to be rest with Goggins? Who knows?
Yeah.
And then you got, well, you better rest because guess what? 4 to 8 in the morning, you're doing it again. And then between that amount of time, you're going to be sleeping at max for 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah, so
you're going to be very fatigued by the time.
Yeah, for these people that don't know Goggins, I mean, I know we referenced him in the last one.
Yeah.
He's a Navy SEAL. He was
Retired.
a heavier weight. I think he was like, what, 300 pounds?
He's a retired Navy SEAL.
Yeah, he's a retired Navy SEAL, but like it wasn't just like he popped up into SEAL training and he got there. It was like his life was very adverse, right? So from the get-go, he's pretty much seen the top of the mountain and said, fuck, I can't get there. And then at one point he said, I'm going to get there. Don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to get up there. Got up there and said like, oh, there's 4 other mountains that are taller. I'm going to get up those 2 and I'm going to shit on everybody else that wants to even think about doing it. And I think this is important to talk about because through my martial arts experience, my propaganda, right, you could say, is I remember distinct times in my life very vividly, whether it was when I was 18, or actually, yeah, I was 18 at the time. I was 18. I remember looking at this dirt, and I don't know. I would say it's not come to Jesus moment, but you kind of realize like how small you are in the world, the problems that people have out there, and you're like, man, like it doesn't fucking matter, right? So like what I'm getting at is like I remember looking at the ground like this close, like, if you guys can see it, like really close, and I'm dragging my they call it skull drags, and I'm like, man, this is day 1 of 2, or I think it was ended up like 3 on the 3rd day. We'd finished by that morning by like before 8 or 9 because we got up super early that day. And that fucking thing. But what I'm getting at is like, there's these moments where you're not prepared. It doesn't matter. Like you're just not prepared, no matter how prepared you are. And I remember like dragging my dragging my skull, I should say. And I looked at the ground and I was like, man, this is the first event of a long journey. And I remember fast forward, I completed all this training, and I did. Actually, I'll go back a little bit to the end of that training, right? So the culminating event, and I'm going up this hill, and I look up and I see this truck, a normal 4x4 truck, like a Silverado, going up this mountain, struggling, like going maybe 5 to 10 miles an hour, just trying to get up, and it's like struggling. And I'm like, man, if this fucking modern ass thing can't get up, how the fuck am I gonna do it? And you know, what I literally did, I literally zoned. I didn't give a fuck if I was getting yelled at, kind of thing. I looked down at the ground, and I said, I got this. I literally like coached myself through it, because that's what you have to do in these situations where like Lex is like, he's nervous. You like what you need to do. It doesn't matter if you're Lex Frieden or you're some average Joe. You don't have to look at the ground, but I'm just saying my experience. I looked at the ground, and I was like, I need to do this. I need to do this for myself. I need this for my family. I just need to do. It doesn't matter. Like, I am not giving up. I don't give a shit. And I looked down at the ground, and I just kept going. I literally one foot in front of the other. Like when they talk about like 1,000 miles journey starts with one step.
Yeah.
I'm like a firm believer, because like fast forward a couple years, like I think 1 or 2 years, and I was skull dragging again up this mountain again, and I was like, man, like fuck, this is the beginning again. Like I'm back to square one, right? Like I got to get done. Like I need to do this for myself. I need to progress in life. And I just remember this guy yelling at me saying like, not really yelling, but coaching. It wasn't really a yell. It was more of a coach, like just black out. And I didn't understand that concept until I literally blacked out. So your body is literally going through these motions. So when you talk about last week with Goggin running that like ultra marathon to prove that he was worthy, so he could run another ultra marathon. And I remember like I can't that's the thing about it. I can't remember what happened in that moment, in that blank 30 minutes of time, right? Because we spent 4 hours of PTing for this specific day, physical training, and 30 minutes went by, and I was in so much pain. My knees, because we were low crawling right up this mountain. Like it was pretty fucking steep. Like I don't know if you ever been over in California, but their mountains are pretty steep, and they were pretty rocky too. So I'm going up this mountain, and my knees are bleeding. Like they're literally bleeding, like profusely, because like when I had done stuff a couple years earlier, I had very similar scars, right, from doing similar thing the first time around. And I'm like, man, how am I going to endure another I didn't know at this time, right? So like looking back, 3.5 hours or however long. At the time I was naive and I thought an hour, which was fucking nowhere to begin with. How am I going to endure? I'm literally bleeding. I'm in so much pain. I don't know how to keep going. So like when I say black out, like just think about anything else. Like when they say, like, I understand Goggins so much, and it's one of those things that I avoid, and I'll be open to admit that I avoid, is anything that causes me pain, because I've been in those positions where I've been in so much pain, and I'm like, man, I don't know how to do this. But as a civilian or anybody anticipating something like this, going into something new that they've never trained for, right? So if you grab an average Joe from the civilian sector or just normal America, really, and you say, hey, go run an ultra marathon, and they're going to be like, I can't do that. And it's like, no, you can. You just aren't you're just not in that situation yet, right? Like you have nothing to lose saying no. But when you're putting that position and you're forced to, like, I have everything to gain. And I remember getting to the top of the mountain, and he's like, all right, get some water. You got 2 minutes. Let's go. We're going to go run. And I was like, fuck, you know? And we ended up literally doing, like, another 3-hour long session. But it's just one of those things that, like, you just can't live in the moment of, like, it's going to end. Just anticipate it not ending. And your life is going to be so much better. Because, like, one of the things is a couple days later, we got our packs, and they were like 50 pounds. Like he literally was like, I'm going to weigh these. If they're not 50 pounds, you're wrong. And we had to do 50 burpees. And I was like, fuck, dude, like this is day 2. I just did a 4-hour PT yesterday. I'm still fucking sore. And like you get to that point where like you understand your limits, and like you just don't give a shit. Like you literally like, I'm in pain, but you're like, bro, I don't give a fuck. Like this is so high speed. Like, this is legit. And then you're like, I'm going above where my body says I can. And I'm just like, telling it to fuck off, right? Because your mind is like, don't keep going. You're in pain. Your body is in so much pain. Stop. Just literally like red alarms. Like when you think of siren going, that's what was going on in my head. I'm like, just stop. And I'm like, bro, I'm gonna be called a pussy. I'm gonna be called weak. Like my family's gonna think poor of me. Anything you could think of. If you're an introvert and you're like worried, like I can't do this, just think like, man, I'm going to look better than the person next to me. Even if you love that person, even if that person is your brother, your sister, or your long lost friend, right? Like, you can do it. And, like, maybe Lex will never listen to this, but if he ever does, like, Lex, you can do it, brother. And you're going to get through, and you're going to black out, and you're going to get through it.
that dude is hella disciplined, so I know he will. But what you're talking about is something I can't really relate to what you're talking about, but
Yeah.
I can relate to the concept of it. We'll have to wrap up on this point. It's about that time.
I thought it would be.
What? So this is when I realized, holy shit, Goggins thrives on this, huh? So like this is him. This is him every day.
Yeah.
When I realized this was so in November or October before I left Netherlands.
Yeah.
I wanted to PR my run for many months. I was like, I want to try to get 15 miles because I got 13 miles at one point.
Which is a half marathon, right? 3.1 or 13. Sorry, 13.1. Like you see those stupid stickers on cars because isn't it 26.2?
Okay, I guess it's 26. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I ran 13 miles at one point, and after that, I was fucked up.
Yeah.
Like big time. It comes down to me not preparing for it.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, I was like, man, if I can do 13.6, I think it came out to. I was like, I don't know, let's just round it up to an even, not an even number, but like a square number, 15.
Yeah.
I want to do 15 miles. So before I left, yeah, I managed to get 15 miles. Dude, the last 3 miles of that is when
you don't remember.
You start. I remember it for the most part. That's when you start like transforming into like, I don't know what to call it, like primitive mode, like survival,
like something you
just
didn't think
digging.
existed.
You turn, and a lot of people that maybe hasn't pushed themselves to like I was in serious pain and just complete fatigue at
Ready
that
to
point.
quit.
Oh, dude, it was so bad. And it's like when you start entering into that realm, you become like this isn't supposed to sound like some hyped up motivation. You can do whatever you set your mind. It's none of that. It's me speaking from experience. And you too. When you start putting yourself into that situation of just ultimate, just like bare bones, this isn't like, oh, I gotta finish this written test and this is gonna push me to my limits because I only have this much time left. No, this is physical, real world, fucking gritty stuff. You know,
Yeah.
you're running, you're in physical pain, you're sweating. It's the real deal. It's like as a human, that's what we know. When you start getting put into that realm, you start seeing like the capabilities of the human body. We'll say, not even of myself, just like as of the human body, like 15 miles on foot, longer than any species on this planet could run, in one stroke at that pace. No other animal, I'm pretty sure, can keep up with that on this planet. But guess what? At mile 12, you're ready to fall on your face. But guess what? Somehow 3 miles gets squeezed out of you out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Dude, I was just talking out loud, just yelling to myself, running past people. They were like, who the fuck is this guy? This guy is insane. But no, you get put into this realm of what Goggins calls his Goggins mode.
Yeah.
And I see it. You become capable of doing these things that doesn't even like really make sense to you. It's like how, like I was tired at mile 7 at the turnaround point, and here I am times 2 of that, but only at not quite times 2 at 12 miles. I was done. I was capped.
Yeah.
I was done. But somehow 3 miles, didn't stop, didn't walk, none of that. Just kept on trucking. Bottom line, look, you have it in you. It's there. You can. You're capable of. A lot of people say you're capable of a lot more than you think, and that it gets repeated a lot, so it might lose its value and stuff. That phrase.
Yeah.
But it's very, very, very true. And I can say that from the experience of just a lot of things physically demanded, but in particular that one, because that was when, for me, I was pushed to the absolute, like, we were tapped, man. Like, that was extreme. And it's one of the most proudest physical accomplishments I've done.
Yeah.
So that's why when I see people run marathons, which they scoff at my 15 mile, it's like, God damn, man.
That's one of those things that you can really only prove it to yourself, because I ran into a similar situation pretty recently, and selfishly got out of it, and I'll explain that real quick, briefly. I ran, I don't know, me and this dude, I was kind of talking to him through some life stuff, right, along the way, and I lost track of time, and we were like 5 miles away, right, like it was like four or five, like away from getting to where we needed to be, right, so like, from A to B, and we need to come back to C, for instance. So like, I remember my feet just like, I couldn't feel them. They were just numb. I literally could not feel my feet. And I was like, I have to be back at point A, in 20 minutes. There's no way I'm going to cover that 5 mile. Like, unless I am full out sprinting, I'm not going to do it. Like, there's just no way. And yes, I could have endured and maybe not necessarily sprinted, but like I could have got there, but there's probably no feasible way I probably would have got there in 20 minutes unless I was like in straight up blackout mode, right? Yeah. I just wasn't really accustomed to it, but I remember calling my buddy and I was like, "Hey, could you come pick me up?" But I think it, like, now looking back at it, it easily like limited me on my abilities, because I was at the point where I was already running for at least a mile in that pain, and I was already enduring it, and I was like, "All right, like I need to get back. Like I understand I'm in pain, but like let's fucking go back." And I was like, I just kind of copped out. So I think that's one of the things is you don't want to cop out. You just embrace it. It's going to suck. Like no matter what you do. And it's also solo, right? So like I had this guy with me, and like you really find out who you are when you're by yourself. And
very true. It's like the same with that run I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
It all
like it
on
doesn't
me.
matter how you look to other people, if you're screaming, if you're making noise, or if you are with somebody and you're screaming, making noise, who you are as an individual, primitively, is going to come out. And it's all right. Just let it be.
And it's so crazy. It's like, man, this is what a human being is. This fucking primitive, like...
Because we're sheltered.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like, are you weird? No, it's just, that's you, man. That's a human. You're just not used to seeing it because modern...
We're comfortable.
Yeah, it's just a comfortable life. We're not in this survival mode all the time looking for food. Mm-hmm. That's who you are, folks.
When you're comfortable, you get to talk to your buddy all the time, like this special occasion. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely glad to have sitting down with you and enjoyed some nice wine, some very premium wine for 2 bottles, by the way, folks. It was like $80. I thought I'd do a little experiment with my buddy here and see if it's better or not, and it fucking is.
Yeah, it's yummy.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
You spend more money on wine, there is an actual difference. Mm-hmm. It's not like alcohol. Well, it's not like hard liquor. It's not like beer. There's an actual difference in wine, specifically Malbec red wine. Mm-hmm. Try it out. Give it a little taste. Experiment. It's good talking to you.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
See you, folks.